Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to Nuanez Now, 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Coulter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Plenty to get to today. Brooks Nuanez will hang out with us, talk everything from PGA Championship to NBA to Cats and Grizz, Mount Rushmore, and college football storylines. We are also going to hear from Samuel Akem. Usually that's our lead segment on Wednesdays, but we'll have that for you about 5:15 here today. We had to move some things around because Ryan Tutel rode with us basically stem to stern yesterday, so appreciate Tutel for sitting in the chair with me. But when he had a award winner crack the mic, we wanted to just sort of work with his schedule, get as much time out of him as we could. So bumped Sammy to today, but that'll be a fun one. We talked everything from little NBA, but also mostly just inside the FCS. Weber State, I hope this makes sense, but I think that Weber State is among the most important teams in football in the Big Sky Conference. What I mean by that is when you have decent to good facilities, you have decent to good fans, you have a good recruiting area, you're in a good place, you've had success, you have tradition. When a program like that falls off, it's bad for the conference. I'm not saying Weber State needs to be or is going to be the top of the league, but they were the top of the league for 4 years running when Jay Hill was the head coach at Weber State. They made the playoffs 6 times in 7 years. They made it as far as the national semifinals. You need, when the Grizz and the Cats and other contenders and powers that be go to Ogden or host Weber, you need that to be a competitive game, a complete game, a game that is essential on the schedule. When it's just a walkover, like when Weber came to Bozeman last year and lost 66-14, that is objectively bad for the entire conference. That is a school that's failing. Like Portland State does not have a lot of ground to stand on. They play at a high school stadium, and they don't have nearly the budget resources or the tradition or any of that sort of stuff. Whereas Weber has fans and alumni and supporters and boosters and a cool stadium and great facilities and awesome weight room, and they've won Big Sky titles and they've won playoff games and all that stuff. For that school to be bad is bad for the league. So I think that Montana State are the two most important teams in the league to sort of be the flagships and steer the ship. But then I think it's Weber State, Idaho, and Eastern Washington if they can ever get it back going. But I actually think it's more important for Weber to be good than Eastern, just because I think Weber has less weaknesses and more strengths holistically as a university and as a football program than Eastern Washington does. So that's all to say that Sammy had a nice interview with Weber State's new head coach, but we turned that into a conversation about the Big Sky Conference landscape. That's sort of like we're talking about why Weber is important to the league. We also got to some other things, including strength of schedule, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all coming up in the second hour. So there you go. That's your show outlook here on Nuanez Now, 1029 ESPN Radio. Appreciate you for hanging with us here on this Thursday. You want to stream us, you always can, 1029ESPN.com. You can also always find us on the ESPN MT app and on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call it, text it, let us know what you want us to talk about, and also just any sort of feedback you might have. Get things started with the Prep Extra. It's proud presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform in the state of Montana. You want the biggest checks for your high school sports organization. Visit verticalraise406.com. State golf for Class B and Class C has been rolling on. And congratulations to Friend of the show, friend of mine, Scott Marsh. He has had a lot of different roles at Florence High School, but he's currently the golf coach. He's been the AD there. He's also an official. He's a guy I've played some golf with as well, and I always love running into Scott. He's a great dude. But anyways, he's the golf coach at Florence Carleton High School right now. And Florence Carleton won their first ever Class B State Boys Championship. They outlasted Manhattan and Missoula Loyola for the championship. They won by 4 strokes as a team, 4 strokes clear of Manhattan, and 6 strokes clear of Loyola. Pretty cool. Marsh said in an article in the Missoulian, special moment for these kids. You know they worked so hard and are just proud of them. They fought through a lot of different things. We have 3 seniors on the team that put in a lot of time and effort into this program and and to build the program up to where these guys feel successful and have that opportunity to put themselves in a historic moment for our school, for our program, and our community. That's pretty cool. You know, we're not known for our golf as a golf school or a golf community. But this is a pretty big accomplishment for Florence High School. So congratulations to Scott. Congratulations to all the Falcons for their awesome performance there to win their first ever Class B state championship. On the girls' side, Lone Peak won the Class B girls. So they've had a little bit of a run lately. Lone Peak was dominant in Class C, and then they moved up to Class B, but they've been playing really well as well. So good job by them. By the way, this was played at Lake Hills in Billings for the Class B tournament. Class C, the Scobie boys continue their unbelievable year. They won football in the fall. They won basketball in the winter, and then they capped the three-peat in the spring in golf. So pretty cool for them. I've been waiting for this because I really want to feature maybe multiple of the Scobie boys on this show for our senior spotlight. But I wanted to see if they could get the three-peat. I was going to feature them anyways, but it just adds to some context and to some prestige when it comes to three-peating on the golf course. So good job by the Scobie boys. We'll give you some of the individual stuff a little later on here in the show. But Scobie boys, Savage girls win Class C state championship in golf, and Florence Carleton boys and Lone Peak girls win the Class B championship in golf. So another one to check off the list in terms of this academic year that's in the books. Prep Extra, probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank, enriching the lives of Montanans since 1907. The Ray Racine Awards were last night in Missoula, and the Midland Roundtable Awards were last night in Bozeman. If you haven't followed along, these are sort of just community awards that go to various high school athletes. Basically, there's 5 boy athlete and 5 girl athletes, high school nominees for the Ray Racine in Missoula and the Midland Roundtable in Billings. And in Missoula, a pair of Hellgate Knights take home the Ray Racine Awards for the top high school athletes in the Garden City. Parker Link from the Hellgate, variety, Hellgate football, Hellgate basketball, Hellgate track, and then Ellie Reed for the girls. The Hellgate girls was the girl athlete of the year for Missoula. Parker Link going to the Grizz to play football. And Ellie Reed going to Boise State Ellie Reed going to Notre Dame to jump. So pretty dang impressive for her. Then in Billings, the girl athlete, Cam Ranker for Billings Central, she will join us tomorrow as our latest senior spotlight. She is a great basketball player who is going to the Lady Grizz. And then the boys athlete of the year, no surprise, Matt Ludwig. Moose is what they call him. He is already at Texas Tech. He graduated early so he could do spring ball, but he came back home to get a little one last taste of the high school stuff. So fun. It's so crazy to think, right? So many of these high school football players, they go play in the Shrine Game, they go play these other different events, but instead Ludwig's already just done with spring ball at Texas Tech, and so he's not going to be participating in those high school all-star games, at least I don't think, because he's already in school. So sort of just a new way of doing things. We saw Carter Dahlke do it at Montana State after early graduation from Bozeman Gallatin, and that's what Ludwig decided to do on his way to Texas Tech. Last little brief for you. Cadence Graham, one of the best basketball players in the state of Montana, Butte High. She is staying home. She's going to stay in Butte to play for her dad, Jeff Graham, who's the head coach of the Ordigers women's basketball team at Montana Tech. Cadence is a junior. I was wondering, I think she's like sort of like a fringe D1 player. She can really shoot it. She can really score it. She's not very big. So I was wondering if she would be somebody that could maybe play her way into being a D1. But she's going to be a great player at Montana Tech, and her dad's a really good coach, so I think that's a great fit for her. Prep Extra, proud presented by Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform in the state of Montana, as well as Farmer State Bank, enriching the lives of Montana since 1907. Let's switch gears. Welcome in one of our favorite guests. Rick Nuanez joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. What's up, dude? How's it going?
I'm living the dream. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being here. First of all, what'd you think of Aaron Rai winning the PGA Championship? We don't have to spend too much time on this because Tutel and I spent quite a bit of time on this, but is it good or bad for golf to have a guy that was relatively at least anonymous before he beat all of the who's who of golf, at Aronimink this last weekend?
I think it can be everything. It can be all angles, but I truly think it's positive for the game because you can't be somebody, you can't be a household name until you do something like this.
Right.
There's a lot of up-and-comers that maybe the Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroys of the world that started out as child phenoms and like you knew about them when they were 16. This is different than that, but I do think it's positive because it shows that there is so much parity in golf, but also that you can go from somebody that's not known to going to be a top 20 guy in the world, and now he'll get exemptions into other tournaments. You'll get to know him more. That doesn't happen unless he kicks this door down. So I'm stoked for Aaron Rai. I've watched him quite a bit. He's kind of an icy cold demeanor guy. Until you hear him talk and hear his story, you don't really understand the kind of guy he is, which is just lights out as far as his character goes. And then also, a huge piece of this that I love is his swing is pretty standard. It's pretty like it could be someone that you golf with. It's not completely professional, mechanical, perfect. It's got a little nuance, little interesting thing to it, which is kind of fun.
I thought it was a great lesson for all golfers out there. Aaron Rai hits the ball shorter than every player on the PGA Tour, save 4 guys.
Yep.
And even during this PGA Championship win, he was almost at the bottom of the leaderboard in terms of driving distance,
which is still $3 bills. But when these course setups are like they're 560-yard par fours,
yeah, he's averaging 291 off the tee, which is so it's crazy to think that like when Nick Faldo was sitting at 280, Nick Faldo and Greg Norman were like the first 2 guys to average more than 275 off the tee, and everybody thought that was like game changing, unbelievable. Now Aaron Rai goes 291 off the tee and he's dead last.
Yeah,
but the point of the story is, Rory hits the ball about 60 to 75 yards farther than Aaron Rai off the tee.
Yep.
Rory hit 2 fairways. Rai hit every fairway. His only missed fairway was on hole 3 when he got his only bogey of his final round.
Wow.
Then he hit every fairway after that. And, I mean, he just absolutely made it rain on the back. 31 on the back to just absolutely slit everybody's throats. But I agree with you. I think we've become sort of accustomed to and maybe even like think that this is the only way it goes, where you start winning majors when you're 22, like Rory, like Jordan Spieth, like Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods. But there's a lot of other guys not swing-wise, but story-wise, I think that Rai's best comp is Vijay Singh. And Vijay Singh didn't win his first major until he's 36. Aaron Rai is 31. So that's the thing I've been sort of mulling over in my head is, like you said, you can't be a guy until you are a guy. And sometimes there's like a J.J. Spawn who rises up and wins the U.S. Open, but like, is he ever going to actually win another tournament again? I don't really know.
He will, but yes.
Maybe. But like Rai, maybe this is just it, right? Like he was a non-factor until 2024, and then he won a tournament in 2024. He's got 19 top 10s since then. I mean, he's been in the top 20 in every single major. He's got 5 top 20s in majors. So he's there. He's a legitimate guy. He's 15th ranked golfer in the world now. So maybe he's just a new face within this group of elite guys. And to me, that's good for the game.
It's absolutely good for the game, and you also have to learn how to go take a golf tournament. Like finishing in the top 10, top 20 of a major is very challenging. You have to be playing such good golf, but to go win one, you have to be insane lights out. And to actually have experienced and felt that, now he might have a new trajectory. I think J.J. Spawn's an interesting comp just because, or not comp, but just comparison in general, just because I think that J.J. Spawn did find lightning in a bottle, but also learned how to win a little bit. And now he's finished in the top 5 several times. I think he will win another major. He's got that kind of talent, but we'll see. Aaron Rai, 2 gloves, interesting swing, great backstory. It has to be good for the game.
It has to be good for the game. Nuanez Now, 109 ESPN Radio. How about the NBA? What have you thought of the way that the Western and Eastern Conference Finals have played out so far? All-time classic Game 1 between the Spurs and the Thunder. We'll see what happens tonight between New York and Cleveland. I think this is a really interesting one given how bad Cleveland blew it in Game 1. I mean, they had a chance to steal it and steal home court in the series, and then they completely melted down. You have 22 unanswered points and somehow lose in overtime. Really good starts to the series in terms of entertainment value. So I guess start with tonight. Cleveland's sort of already blown it, so now I don't even know if you can expect them to go be able to salvage a split here. Where are you at with just going into Game 2?
You have to think that Cleveland does feel like a missed opportunity in Game 1. But if you look at it from the start of the series, you don't really expect to win Game 1 on the road.
Right.
Even though it happened in the NHL, it happened in the Spurs series. It obviously can happen.
Isn't it easier to win Game 1 than Game 2, though?
I think that's probably true, but I think that if you're playing a top 4 team in the league, you don't expect to win either of them.
Right.
That you don't have to win either of them. That you have to steal Game 6.
Sure.
You know, that you just they take care of 2, you take care of 2, then you steal Game 5 or 6. So yeah, you just gotta get this thing to a Game 7. Is the whole point of these kind of series, is that you're not going just to steamroll a team and win 4-1, right? You're just very unlikely that's going to happen. So for the Cavs, I think you want a good showing. I think that you play with confidence and hope to at least play it close. But if you're the Knicks, now you're kind of playing with house money, and the crowd was insane, electric. I think that the Knicks have the potential to be the hottest team at any given moment. They can go on runs like no one else in the league. And as I mentioned to you earlier, Coulter, I think that the Knicks have very well likely the best 5 when their 5 is rolling. The Spurs are right there, but I think anyone else has one out of those 5 that could be a weak link, that could be something that's maybe missing in the pursuit of a championship. I think the Knicks might be as well-rounded as anybody. So they're going to be tough to beat, especially with home court and New York showing out like they are.
Our Pro Sports Talks, always presented by Sportsbet Montana. Appreciate Sportsbet Montana for their continued support of what we got going on here at Nuanez Now. More than 550 kiosks across the state. Also get the app in your life. It's a great way to build your parlays, build your multiple part bets, check out the lines, check out the teasers. You can also visit Sportsbet Montana's website as well. On the gambling front, have you seen the video that's gone viral of Dylan Harper?
Yeah, I have. I mean, it can't be until it's fully confirmed that that's a employee of a sports book.
It's not.
It can't be.
It's been confirmed that's a trainer.
Yeah, it can't be.
And the logo on his shirt is just the corporate sponsors for the Spurs. So those that haven't seen this, Dylan Harper, he popped his hamstring. He pulled, like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what he did, but some sort of hamstring something or other. He leaves the court, goes back to the locker room, gets checked out, and he's coming back on the court, and the trainers basically intercept him and send him back. But then Twitter says that the guy who intercepted him was a FanDuel, basically like, I don't know, employee, instigator, like henchman, and he's saying, Dylan Harper, you get off the court because we need the Thunder to win and to cover.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, and this is the world that we live in, which is a weird world to live in. But in real news that's reported on by real journalists, De'Aaron Fox has already been out, and now Dylan Harper, who's the number 2 pick in the draft last year and is by all accounts one of the rising stars in the NBA, he'll be out for Game 3 as well. So that this hurts San Antonio quite a bit. Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, they still have pieces, and if you got at any given moment the best player in the world in Victor Wembanyama, then you always have a chance. I think they match up really well with the Thunder, which is hard to do. They're plenty physical. They're plenty physical and scrappy. And I knew this was a part of his game, Coulter, but I did not think that the physical scrappiness and the level that the Spurs can get to would be led by Wemby.
Right.
Like, he comes off like a flossy French dribbler, shooter, Kevin Durant, but 5 inches taller. And really, he's a dog.
It's an absolute dog.
Absolute dog.
It's the most surprising part about the playoffs.
I knew that he was competitive and everything, but like, could he just get pushed around because he's so slight? And he can't. I mean, you can get him on the ground if he stumbles, but like otherwise, he's not backing down from anyone.
Well, one of the most tried and true formulas in the NBA is it doesn't matter how much potential or how much talent you have. You got to get knocked down and get beat up before you can actually accomplish anything. That has been the case for literally every superstar. They have to lose and lose and lose and get their heart broken in these big moments until they arrive. Like you don't get to, in the NBA, you don't get to win a championship when you're 22 or 23 years old. It's literally never happened for anybody. Like the only team that even came close to doing it was the Thunder when they had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden when they were all under 25 years old. But that team still lost in the finals. But I mean, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Like I guess Kobe was pretty young, but he had veteran, middle of his career Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq.
The pretty big problem. But
and Kobe also had 3.5 years because he got drafted out of high school.
Totally, and so much of it though is that you just don't know what it takes, and you sort of have to get hardened and get that edge. That's the thing that's the most surprising to me because I came into this playoffs thinking, okay, Wemby's going to get the Spurs, he's going to get them a little ways, get them a lot of ways, whatever. But he's just not going to be quite ready to raise up and seal that brass ring. Like, he's not ready to be that guy. He's absolutely ready to be that guy.
Well, yeah, and he got in the round before to face the other 7-foot-plus Frenchman with 4 Defensive Player of the Years in Rudy Gobert, and the guy that probably most French basketball players look to as one of the greatest of his generation.
And one of the greatest from their country.
Of all time.
The captain of their international team.
No question.
Yeah.
And he dominated him so badly that they couldn't even play Rudy when Wemby was in. And then
the Timberwolves had to take Rudy Gobert out of the rotation.
So now he goes to the Thunder, where his youth, high school AAU circuit upbringing rival is Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
And he's just going to eat his lunch for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Chet can do about it because Chet is in the place that all young players would be against someone like who's as established as Wemby's become, in the sense of, yeah, you got to take your lumps. You're not quite ready yet. Chet's 3 years in. Chet's got another. Next year, he'll be better. By his 5th year, Chet will be a top 20 player in the league. He probably is close right now, but he's not quite there yet because that's the normal thing to happen in the NBA.
Yes, exactly. Brooks Nuanez here on Nuanez Now. Our pro sports conversations probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. So last question on this, that we could talk some cats and grizz fun off-season stuff. The sort of the overwhelming opinion coming into this playoffs was twofold. One, that the NBA champions coming out of the Western Conference, and that 2, the NBA champions is just going to be the Thunder, and that they were just going to cruise and roll and all that. Do you believe? Have you seen the odds?
I have not.
The Thunder started last round
minus 260.
Minus 260.
Nailed it.
By the middle of last round, it was minus 192, but they were still overwhelming favorites.
Yep.
Yesterday, before Game 2, plus 175 for the Thunder, plus 185 for the Spurs, plus 200 for the Knicks.
Yep.
So the odds closed significantly. Basically, the book
and Cavs are like plus 380, or
Cavs are like plus 560.
Oh, wow.
So the book is basically saying that it's almost an equal shot between the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Knicks, and that the Cavs are the one long shot. What do you think of that?
I think that's spot on. I think that all 3 of those teams could win. I think that the Knicks could absolutely win it, for what I said just a moment ago about when they have their best 5 out there and they're rolling, it's really tough to stop.
Well, and so much of this is health, right? And this is how the NBA playoffs go every year because it's such a long marathon. But not only is De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper out for the Spurs, Jalen Williams is going to be out in Game 3. He also tweaked a hamstring. So, I mean, those are significant. Those are 3 of the, 6 or 7 best players in that series. And if New York can stay healthy, they're the deepest team left if those other guys are out.
They are, for sure. And Jalen Williams had missed 20 games with that hamstring already, which is terrible.
Right.
Dylan Harper might just be a tweak. Like you re-injure a hamstring that you were out for a month or two with.
Right.
Like, it's a tough spot to be in.
Anybody that has ever had a pulled hamstring, like once it's pulled, you just like basically keep pulling it until you do nothing to get it healthy.
For 2 months.
For months, 8 to 10 weeks.
Yep. So I do think all three of those teams can still win it. Again, you have players that can be the best player on the court. I mean, Jalen Brunson can be the best player in the NBA at any given time. When he was cooking in that 22-0 run, I mean, there's no one like him scoring at all three levels, and just his demeanor and bravado, there's no one like him. SGA can be the best player in the league, is back-to-back MVP for a reason. And then like we talked about with Wemby. So I do think that all three of those teams could win it. It's interesting. I would call it unfortunate. The Cavs are a good team, and I do think they have like a little bit of an identity that they found. They're just one guy short. They're just one rotational guy short. Like, I like their size. I like what they can do in the post. They have some shooting. James Harden has found it in the last couple weeks. Donovan Mitchell is an elite player. Maybe just a little bit of redundancy between those two. But otherwise, I do think the Cavs are good. They just found themselves in a situation where there's three really, really good teams. As good as there has been in the NBA in 10 years.
Definitely. Is it the best since when? The best since the Heat and the Spurs were going at it 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, yes. I mean, because there's the little like blip teams like the Bucks, like that was a great team because of Giannis. It wasn't necessarily the most deepest team.
And like the Warriors were so good, but a lot of times they didn't have that much of challengers, right?
They definitely didn't. I mean, the Warriors would be right there for sure.
Yeah.
The Lakers, when they won it, good team.
But we're talking about multiple good teams, right?
We're talking about where there's like the Final Four is like teams all could win it. Like there's no overwhelming favorite like there has been in so many of those past seasons. So yes, I do think that this is as good as the NBA's been in quite some time.
All right, it's now 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Good question from our listeners. By the way, keep the questions coming in, comments, concerns, subject matter, all that stuff. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. They've been asking about the Mount Rushmore of Cats and Grizz, and you had a great suggestion of saying you sort of have to delineate between those two because you're talking between coaches and players, because sometimes it gets muddled if you do both. So I've given my penance on this. I said my Mount Rushmore of Grizz coaches is Don Reed, Joe Glenn, Bobby Houck, and Larry Donovan. I picked Larry Donovan over Mick Dennehy just because of the way that Donovan was sort of able to launch the program initially to then help the building of Washington Grizzly Stadium, which was the most impactful thing, I think, for the Grizz. A loyal texter sent in that Jack Swarthout had to be on the list. I must admit, before that text was sent, I was a little bit naive about what Jack Swarthout's impact was. After looking at the resume, I think that listener was certainly probably right. Jack Swarthout led the Grizz to their first two and only two Big Sky titles before 1982. That was 1969, 1970. Both those teams won 10 games and had a couple other impactful parts of his resume that certainly were good for Missoula and the University of Montana. Then my Grizz player Mount Rushmore was Dave Dickinson, Vince Huntsberger, Thatcher Slay, and Croy Bierman, with a slight honorable mention to Jermaine Johnson. Picked Croy Bierman for team and individual accolades, whereas Johnson, probably the most talented player to ever play for the Grizz. But he certainly played for the Grizz during a time that there was both ups and downs within the program. None of that was really his fault per se, but that's the reason I went with Croy. Any arguments or any edits to my Grizz Mount Rushmores?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's yours, so I'll let you keep your thing going. But the coaches, I'm not going to really. There's only three coaches that have coached at Montana besides the blip of Bob Stitt and Robin Pflugrad. Like the only three successful coaches in my lifetime are on that list, so I'll just leave it at that. Like I didn't watch the other guys. I can look up the stats and all that stuff, but I think that Don Reed, Joe Glenn, Bobby Houck is set in stone, and then you can kind of go wherever you want to go.
Mick Dennehy is interesting, right? Because Mick Dennehy's first year we took over for Don Reed. That's an impossible situation, but he did great, and they won every single game they were going to play. They beat Oregon State. They went undefeated, and then they ran into Randy Moss and then got their heads cut off. Right. But then they sort of had the lull where they lost in the first round of the playoffs 3 years in a row after that, and they jumped ship to Utah State. So just a little bit of an uneven resume for Mick Dennehy, because he, by no means was he bad, but he was as good as the Grizz had been in year one, and then just not as good for the next 3 years.
Yep, so I think that's spot on. As far as the players go, I kind of went about it a little bit differently in the sense of you could say who won the championships, who did the things, who had the stats, who had all that. And for me, it's a lot of eye test and just my experience. Like, I know a lot about Thatcher Slay, but I didn't interact with him very much. I haven't seen him play as much as some of the other guys on these that are in contention. So I just kind of went with my favorites, just the guys that I think are the best. You have to include Dave Dickinson, right? Super Dave is just he's the GOAT until further notice.
Yep.
And then my second was a guy that when I was a kid, I just loved. And I think that there are 4 or 5 candidates that play this position, but sometimes first is best and better than the rest, who kind of got this thing rolling. And you could say that Lex Hilliard is more talented. And you could say that Justin Green's NFL prowess and then coaching career and all that is whatever you want to call that, amazing, right? All encompassing. You could talk about Chase Reynolds, but for me, it was Johansi Humphrey.
Yeah.
And I mean, he kind of put Grizz football on the map. Like in 95 and 96, I was pretty little. I knew about it. It was cool. We followed it, read the newspaper, tried to catch the games, whatever. But Johansi Humphrey was at a time in my life where it was just like prime sports fandom.
Totally.
Just I'm 10, 11 years old. They're going to win natties. He's the dude. I mean, he ran for like 1,600 yards this senior year. It's
right.
Like that's set. I mean, this is nasty.
Well, if you're talking about individual accomplishments, career records, and team accomplishments,
and a natty, yep.
It's pretty much hard it's impossible to argue against Johansi Humphrey. He's still, to this day, the all-time leading rusher in Grizz history. His senior year is the all-time leading single season record, and
I think he's got the most in a game, like 265.
I think he still has most in the game, most in a single season, most in a career touchdowns leader, and he's got a national championship.
There you go. I mean, it seems like you can't go wrong, right?
No doubt.
Then I went with one of my favorites and a guy that I love dearly, and I just don't think that if you were there and you saw this rise and then you saw the peak, that you could say that Mark Mariani isn't anything but one of the 5 greatest players of all time.
He's the most special player the Grizz have ever had.
No doubt.
Like, as Mom always says, he's the magic man.
Totally.
He's got the magic.
And some of the performances in the playoffs, the punt returns, the kick returns, the national championship performances. I mean, against Villanova in 2009, he went 10 for 185 in the first half.
Right.
They shut him out in the second half. Villanova had a great game plan, but like you go to with Natty and go 10 for 185 before, the intermission, it's like we're talking about a real-time player and a guy that was a quote-unquote walk-on guy, a tennis player, just the rise of someone who puts in the work and really lives the whole Grizz football thing. I mean, there's no one that could really touch that story. So he's going to live there for me. And then the fourth, I kind of have, this is a tough one because I just think these guys could all just be honorable mentions. And Croy has to be in the conversation.
For sure.
I mean, just winning, he won the Buck.
First Buck Buchanan winner in school history.
Then get drafted, then actually have a career in the NFL. Like the whole thing.
Played in the NFL for 10 years.
The whole thing is like, really, what could you say that's better than that, right?
Sure.
Trumaine, I saw up and close and personal. Good friend of mine, played with him for 2.5 years. Like you said, he's probably the most talented guy. Jimmy Wilson's up there, but True, as far as the total package, is probably the most talented guy. But I thought that there was someone that you can't overlook, and someone that in the peak of Grizz football was so important to the team, the landscape, the conference, the FCS, the 1AA, and that's Dan Carpenter.
Good one.
I mean, I thought Dan Carpenter played in the NFL for close to 10 years.
Yep.
He's a Pro Bowler at one time. He's got the most points in Grizz history.
Oh, and Big Sky Conference history.
In the FCS, I believe.
I mean, it's way out there, too. He's got like 475 points.
He does. And, he punted one year and had a great year punting as a junior. And, I just think that when you're putting up points like that and you're that consistent and you're also a Montana dude, I don't know if he was born in Montana. He's a Montana guy.
He's a hell of a guy.
He's a Montana guy. And so that whole narrative plays in here. Kickers take a lot of flack. I give kickers flack. I understand it. I just think that you can't say that making big-time kicks in an era where they were winning it the way they were wasn't insanely important.
Very good. We also would be remiss if we don't give Tim Houck at least an honorable mention, right?
Tim Houck is a little bit of I just didn't see him.
No, totally.
Much,
I mean, of course not. He played in the late 1980s.
Like I've seen the highlights and I love the story and the size.
No question.
Like when I see him now and I shake his hand, I'm like, it's crazy. crazy that you're this size.
You right. Like, you are just a normal-sized guy, like a small guy, and you played in the NFL for 13 years.
An inch taller than you think, which is not very tall, but just not a huge guy.
No, he's just a slight man.
And then his coaching career to then match it is just insane. Of course he's on here. Like I said, I just went with things that I had experienced.
No doubt. I mean, we could do a million honorable mentions, right? I mean, Chase Reynolds has to
Brock
be
Coyle
in this situation on the conversation for sure. Brock Coyle has to be in the conversation.
Dante Olson.
Dante Olson is a Buck Buchanan Award winner. Tyrone Holmes is a Buck Buchanan Award winner. I mean, on down the line, right? I mean, there's a bunch of those
receivers for days.
I mean, the mid-'90s guys like Jason Crebo.
Oh, man.
The early 2000s guys like Andy Pedic and Tim Bush. I mean, those guys are Trey Young was multiple times.
I almost put Trey Young on there.
I mean, another guy where you're talking about just individual talent and his abilities to make plays and his diversity as a player.
Top five,
Trey
no
Young
question.
is one of the best players that the Grizz have ever had for sure. So there's a lot of guys, certainly. Nuanez Now watching ESPN Radio. Brooks Nuanez joining us here. We'll take a break, come back, and keep on talking at Mount Rushmores. Keep it right here. It's 129 ESPN Radio.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to demorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Brooks Nuanez kicking it with us here on this Thursday. Appreciate you for hanging. Samuel Kim coming up in hour number 2, and also some track and field bests as well. But we're doing our Mount Rushmores per your conversation. We gave you our Grizz picks. Pretty solid on the coaches, a little bit of delineation on the players, but certainly that's what makes it fun, just sort of a matter of opinion. In the sake of fairness, do some Montana State talk here. I think when my coaching for Montana State, Mount Rushmore included Sonny Holland, Brent Vigen. I think those two are indisputable. And then I think you go down the line, and I think you're pretty solid on Jim Sweeney because of his great accomplishments at the very beginning of the Big Sky Conference era, winning the league 3 times in 5 years. He won the inaugural Big Sky Conference championship in 1963, so I think that certainly carries some weight. And then the 4th spot, I think modern fans would argue between either Mike Kramer or Jeff Choate because of their ability in the rivalry. But I went all the way back to the beginning of the first era of success for Montana State. Tony Storty, he was the head coach of the Cats in the early 1950s, won the 1956 national championship. He's the one that made Montana State into a legitimate football program. They were sort of just like a non-serious football playing school for most of like the first 50 years of their history, and then Storty actually turned them into a machine. This is back in the days of the Rocky Mountain Conference when they were still NAIA, but certainly the first winning tradition that had like consistency to it was under Tony Storty. But we got a lot of texts, and I could totally see arguments big time for the big human, for snapping the streak and sort of setting the stage where the Cats are now, and also for Jeff Choate for sort of rebuilding what Montana State has now turned into. And then I think that you could also put Rob Ashe in there too, just because Rob Ashe took over the whole mess that Kramer left, and he won 3 Big Sky titles and won 70 games over the span of 9 years. It went up in flames for him at the end, but I mean, he's still the all-time winningest coach in the history of Bobcat football. So where are you at with the coaches?
Yeah, the first 3 are home runs, right? Got
to be Vegan and Holland for sure, and I think that Sweeney's got to be on there.
I think so too, and then I love Mike Kramer. I think he's a tremendous coach. He's an amazing person. I love the time that Rob Ashe was there was really fun teams. I mean, they assembled some really cool teams.
They did.
The Daenerys McGee, Cody Kirk situation was
Brad Daly, Tanner Bleskin.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just like those were awesome teams.
I mean, that's the one knock against Ashe, right? They had all those guys, and they only won 2 playoff games.
Right. And then Tony Storty.
Yes,
I don't know a ton about, but I promise you this, Coulter, that Tony Storty is not half the coach that Jeff Choate is.
Well, sure, right. Different time, different era, different divisions, all this sort of stuff.
I promise you that
no question.
Rob Ashe and Mike Kramer hold a candle to the man that they call Jeff Choate.
Yeah.
So Jeff Choate is 4th on my list. It's not particularly close.
Well, the other thing that is such an outlier for the Bobcats is that the national championship that they won in January is their 2nd D1 national championship, their 4th national championship overall. I just named 3 of the 4 coaches that won the national championship, but Dave Arnold was not in consideration whatsoever for me. Why is that? Because Dave Arnold has the most completely, it's an anomaly. His career is an anomaly. Year 1, 1-10. Year 2, natty. Year 3, 2-10. Year 4, 3-8, fired. Like it's pretty crazy that he won 18 games at Montana State, and 12 of them were in 1 year, and they won the national championship.
That's called catching a heater.
Yeah, catching a heater, right?
Wow.
So then you all would also think that maybe Sonny Lubick needs to be in the discussion, because a lot of those guys from back then would tell you Sonny Lubick recruited all those guys on the 1984 team, and then had a sort of a bad exit in Bozeman. But then he went on to become a legend at Colorado. I mean, first Miami on Dennis Erickson's staff, and then Colorado State. The field is named after him in Fort Collins, so maybe Sonny Lubick deserves some love. But you're leaning Choate over Kramer and over Storty. I love it.
I'm certainly not leaning. It's an absolute cannonball.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, there's no one that I've ever been around in my entire life that's like Jeff Choate. So
that is absolutely true. The word unique is misused constantly, and it's not misused when you talk about him. He is a unique individual. There's no question about it. Speaking of coaching legacies, Sonny Lubick went to Miami under Montana State alum Dennis Erickson. Dennis Erickson is going to be inducted into the latest Big Sky Conference Hall of Fame class. So well deserved. The Big Sky Conference.
Is that a little late?
Well, it's only the 3rd year.
Okay.
So the Big Sky had this great idea to create the Hall of Fame, and then it got off to the clunkiest start ever. It had nothing to do with them. It's because they had to cancel the Big Sky kickoff 2 years in a row because of the pandemic.
Right. So you can't do it.
So the first class didn't get inducted until 3 years later, so then it kind of got trickled downhill.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like the very first class, when you induct 10 people, like it has to be like the 10 most pivotal figures in the history of the Big Sky. Dennis Erickson, his career after the Big Sky
was short in the Big Sky, right?
Right. I mean, he played at Montana State, and then he was an assistant for MSU, and then he was at Idaho in the 80s. But so much of it is colored by what he did after at Miami and Arizona State and Oregon State. But certainly a deserving inductee. For those wondering, the other inductees this year, Frank Hawkins, a student-athlete from Nevada in 1979-1980. Eric Hines, who was the longtime cross-country and track and field coach in Northern Arizona, built an absolute juggernaut there at NAU. 55 All-Americans, 10 top 10 finishes in the national meet for Eric Hines. Amber Henry, who's one of the great cross-country runners in the history of the Big Sky Conference, a 3-time All-American and an 11-time Big Sky Conference champion in her career at Weber State. Pam Parks, who was the head volleyball coach and an administrator at Eastern Washington for forever, for like 35 years. Michael Ray Richardson from Montana, going in for the Grizz, one of the great basketball players ever from the University of Montana. Jackie Ross Maddox from Idaho, a track and field standout. Willie Sojourner from Weber State is one of the great initial great players in the Big Sky Conference. It's so crazy to think how times have changed, right? But Willie Sojourner was the man when Weber State won not one but 2 games in the NCAA tournament. Imagine if a Big Sky team won 2 games in the NCAA tournament right now.
Hey, that's going to the Sweet 16.
Back then it was going to the Elite 8.
Wow.
Because there's only 32 teams in the tournament back in 1968. So, Sojourner, a pretty impressive career, but 1,143 rebounds.
Whew.
The one that stands out.
It's a lot of boards.
That's a lot of boards.
Call him board
certainly.
man.
All right, Brooks Nuanez here on Nuanez Now, your Bobcat Players Hall of Fame. Or Mount Rushmore, excuse me.
Yep. Mount Rushmore Bobcat players. You got to start with Jan Stenerud.
Have to. He was on mine. By the way, filling in the blanks for me, I had Jan Stenerud, I had Bill Kohler, I had Troy Anderson, and
Bill Kohler's a good one.
Yeah, and then I got to remember my fourth one. But regardless, you can go ahead while I research on my own notes.
Jan is one of the most pivotal, memorable characters of this Montana State's entire football history.
I mean, their entire university's history, right?
No doubt. I mean, he is as important to that whole lexicon. And I think people think that they know a little bit about him, and they do, and he's quite revered and recognized. But still, I mean, he won Super Bowl with like game-winning kicks, right?
No question.
He hit a game winner to win a Super Bowl.
It was like unheard of for a guy to kick over like a 42-yard field goal. Jan Stenerud, I mean, he held the college football record. He kicked a 59-yard field goal against the Grizz in college. He also is, I believe, the first guy to ever hit a 50 and a 55 and a 59-yard field goal in the NFL as well. I think he once touched 60, but he was like the first guy in the history of the sport to be kicking 50, 55, 59-yard field goals.
Yeah, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as the first kicker ever in 1991. The next guy didn't get inducted until 2017.
Right.
And the only other 2 kickers in the NFL Hall of Fame are Morton Anderson and Adam Vinatieri.
Sure.
See, I mean, you're talking about rare air. So you got to start with Jan. Also, just a wonderful guy. Like, just a cool,
awesome
cool
guy.
As a cat. Second, who's the best player in Montana State history? It's not close, and I don't think it'll ever be touched, and that's Troy Anderson.
Yes.
It's not even there's not even a conversation to be had about like 1A or 1B or anything. You can talk about number 2 anytime you want. Best player to ever play at Montana State is no question Troy Anderson. His journey, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, playing a different position every single year, being All-Americans throughout that entire thing, being the freshman of the year at running back, and then playing, being a first-team All-League guy at quarterback. It's you say it like you know it because you were there, and it still will never not be unbelievable. It's just completely remarkable what he was able to do. And then
I mean, he made the playoffs by himself. That's no shot on the rest of those guys. And they had good players. They had a good team, whatever. But like in terms, and I'm not saying that there wasn't contributions from other places, but they didn't run anything on offense in 2018. They snapped the ball to Troy Anderson and said, make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, no, there's never going to be anything like what we saw again, period.
And that was like 20 pounds before he had filled out and done it. If he had done that with his senior year body, a little bit more believable, but it's unbelievable. And he's just
19. He's a true sophomore.
And the style he did it in, just the eye test. There's no one bigger, more powerful, no one faster that's ever touched a football in the Big Sky Conference, and it's not close.
I mean, he's in the conversation in all the history of college football, man.
No doubt, 100%. No one's done what he done. No one ever. Period.
he literally didn't develop at linebacker for 1 second and still went out and had 165 tackles and was the national player of the year his senior year.
Yeah, and he got drafted.
He got to develop
overall.
one spring ball. Like he never even did spring ball or fall camp. Just straight up just
surgeries.
Just going out there just doing it like it's middle school or something like that.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. All right, who's your fourth guy?
I think you got to probably. I didn't have Bill Kohler.
My fourth guy was Mark Fellows, by the way. We had 20 sacks that I did.
I was going to say Mark Fellows, Bill Kohler, Don Haas. Don Haas, yeah. The Iron Tumbleweed, whose
numbers retired.
People who know about him are like, that he was the guy.
He was the guy.
Running back. I mean, he had 20 touchdowns in a season.
Yep.
I like all those guys. Out of that group, I mean, if you talk about the NFL success and things after, I mean, it's got to be Bill Kohler, just for everything he went on and his.
He's a first round draft pick. This only happened one time in the history of the Big Sky Conference.
First round draft pick, and then what he went on to do is coaching wise, and then what he was in college. I mean, he was unstoppable. So I'm going to go with Bill Kohler at number 3, and then number 4. Again, I'm using my experience throughout this entire lens, and I just don't think that you could ever create a list like this until maybe, time passes. That doesn't include Tommy Mellott.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tommy Mellott, as much as someone like Mike Kramer or Rob Ash or Jeff Cho influenced and changed the program, even Troy Anderson. Troy Anderson more overpowered the program and used it as a conduit to what his ultimate goals were, which was to dominate everybody, right?
Sure.
Tommy changed it with leadership and what actually building a program is: accountability, leadership by example, being the kid that's willing to do anything. Like, it's pretty rare to be the national player of the year at quarterback and you were running down on kickoff as a freshman, right? Like, those kind of things bring this story, and then the legend of him just as it continued to grow and the pressure that was on him and the way he was able to overcome all of that and just continue to improve and continue to shut the haters up and tell someone like me who thinks he's inaccurate, all of a sudden he's as accurate as it gets. He's winning National Player of the Year. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. I get that playing football in the 60s and 70s was tough and physical, and there was a lot, but this is a different era, and what he was able to do in the era, I think, is you have to tip your hat to.
Brooks Nuanez here on Nuanez Now, 109 ESPN Radio. We'll hear from him a little bit more tomorrow, but thanks for swinging by here today.
Yep, absolutely.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John?
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
All right, here's a great trivia question for you. If you get this right, whoever gets this first on the text line, 406-888-1029, I got a $25 gift card for you to DraftWorks Brewing. It's Thursdays. Each Thursday here on Nuanez Now, we got a $25 gift card to DraftWorks Brewing. Here's all you got to do. That song, Sunshine of My Love by Cream. Cream is one of the great three-piece bands of all time. Name the three members of Cream. First person to do it, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Text us right now. Name the three members of the iconic 60s band Cream. First person to do it, $25 to DraftWorks, 406-888-1029. Time for some Diamond Time. High school baseball style. High school baseball wrapped up the regular season this last weekend, and then they dive into state. I guess the play-in games, first of all, this weekend, and then state is the following weekend in Butte. There's actually now two state tournaments. There's the AA tournament and then the Class A tournament. There used to just be one division of high school baseball, but it continues to grow, continues to expand. Diamond Time, probably presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris has been family-owned in Missoula since 1958. DeMorris Automotive at 3115 West Broadway. Proud to offer Buick, GMC, Mercedes-Benz. Missoula Sentinel, Missoula Big Sky each receive buys to state, so they are the 1 and 2 seeds respectively out of the Western AA. The play-in games include Missoula Hellgate at Kalispell Glacier on Friday. That starts at 4 p.m. They also have Kalispell Flathead at Butte on Friday as well. That starts at 3 p.m. The buys out of the Eastern AA, number 1, Gallatin. They are undefeated and the favorites going in. Number 2, Great Falls CMR. They're the two teams that get buys out of the East. And then you got Belgrade playing at Bozeman Friday night and Billings Skyview playing at Billings West on Saturday afternoon. Let me find the play-in games for Class A. One moment. Just got to refresh my page here. But state softball is also coming around the corner and state track as well. But the AB pairings look like this. Billings Central, the number 1 seed out of the East, and Dillon, the number 1 seed out of the Central. Laurel will play at East Helena Thursday. Butte Central plays at Columbus on Friday. And then the AB North Conference standings will depend on Polson at Whitefish, which is coming up on Thursday as well. So a little Diamond Time, presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris has been family-owned and operated since 1958. Hour 1 of the Bucks Hour 2 coming at you. Fill in the blanks with a couple other storylines from around the state of Montana. We will also talk some NBA. We'll also hear from Samuel Kim inside the FCS. That's all next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller and Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Montana State's women taking home the Big Sky Conference Outdoor Track and Field Championship overshadowed several other stellar accomplishments by collegiate athletes from Montana, particularly on the men's side. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Montana State senior Rob McManus was named the most outstanding athlete after winning his 3rd straight men's steeplechase title. The senior from Kashmir, Washington, finishes his Big Sky outdoor career with 3 conference titles and a silver medal in the event. He's already a 3-time All-American, and his season best time of 8 minutes 31 seconds will almost certainly send him back to the national championship meet. He currently ranks 12th in the nation in the discipline. For the Montana Grizzlies, Carson Bites helped U of M to a 3rd place finish as the Grizz scored 107.5 points, their highest total since 2002. Bites, a Missoula Sentinel product and former walk-on, continued his storybook breakout season. He helped lead the Grizz to a gold medal in the sprint relay and posted the top qualifying time in the 100-meter prelims before stumbling in the final and still finishing 3rd with a time of 10.49 seconds. He bounced back in impressive fashion by winning gold in the 200 meters with a time of 20.88 seconds. Other champions from Montana included Grizz senior Cadence Waller in the men's 400, Montana State senior Genevieve Lynch in the women's hammer, and Montana freshman Callie Wilson in the women's 100 and 200 meters.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 109 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Coulter Nuanez, coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. They now have one bin recycling. They'll pick it up for you at your house a couple times a month. Cans, plastics, cardboards are thrown in. They pick it up. Want to make the switch or add the service or both? Call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171, or visit grizzlydisposal.com. A text in from a listener, a good text, certainly. By the way, keep them coming. What do you want us to talk about? What are we wrong about? All that. If you're missing the first hour of the show, Brooks Nuanez swung by. We talked about our all-time great Grizz, Mount Rushmore, both coaches and players. We also talked Bobcats as well, a whole bunch of names that should and deservedly will be mentioned. But that's all on your favorite podcasts and available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. Somebody texted, how can you guys not mention Wild Bill Kelly as one of the best Grizz ever? I did this like 18-month thought experiment. I have this book. If you watch it on TV, you can see I have my whole bookshelf over here. But I have this book. It's titled The 100 Greatest Sports Heroes. This book came out, though, in the 1950s. I can't remember the specific date. I think 1954. And the thought experiment was I went through each and every one of the 100 entries in this book. And I found it utterly fascinating how I would say probably between 25 and 40% of the book, like you still remember, right? Joe Louis, Jim Thorpe, Babe Ruth, Babe Diedrichson, Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle. Names that still like are in the public consciousness, right? Then like probably a third of the book were ones where you heard it and you're like, oh, okay, kind of knew about that person. But I didn't really know that much. But now that you bring it up, okay, I sort of remember. And then like a full third, if not more, are people that I had no idea about. Their memories had faded. They did not, like their generation knew who they were. People in the first half of the 20th century probably knew who they were, but I had no idea who they were some 75 years later. That's fascinating. The thought experiment is just how great do you have to be for your legend to linger for a super long time, right? Basically, everybody we named is from the Big Sky Conference era for both the Cats and the Grizz. The Big Sky Conference was founded in 1963. That, to me, is sort of like if you're not like BC AD, like the dawning of a new era is when the Big Sky was created and the Cats and the Grizz got in the same conference. People don't realize Cats and the Grizz were not in the same conference for like almost the first 70 years of the football rivalry. It's interesting, right? But they got in the same conference. They were at the same division, played Division II initially. 1963 to 1978, they played Division II. 1978 on Division I AA, which is now known as the FCS. But that's sort of like the era that I have dedicated my life to studying. That's not to say I don't understand and know about the guys from the past. I certainly find characters like Wild Bill Kelly, Milt Popovich, Terry Dillon, some of these awesome players from the pre-Big Sky era. They're very interesting to me. So certainly, I can't say that we shouldn't have thought of Wild Bill Kelly. We just didn't add him, but he is he's certainly an excellent potential person to land on the Mount Rushmore for Grizz football. For those that don't know who Wild Bill Kelly is, Wild Bill Kelly played for the Grizz back in the 1920s. Part of the thing that really hurt him, he's never played on a Grizz team with a winning record, but he was one of the most prolific offensive players the Grizz had ever seen. Kelly concluded his illustrious college football career at Montana with 31 career touchdowns. That was a school record. Stood for 75 years before Johansi Humphreys broke it in 2001. Montana was in the Pacific Coast Conference back then with schools like Washington and Oregon State. And while Bill Kelly was named first team All-PCC twice, he garnered national attention by making the All-American team for the AP, second team All-American. He was also invited to the East-West Shrine Game. So he certainly had plenty of accolades. He took his talents to the professional ranks, playing the NFL for 4 seasons before his untimely death in 1931. Played quarterback for the New York Yankees, 1927, 1928. That's right, there was a New York Yankees pro football franchise. He also played for the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets and the Brooklyn Dodgers of the NFL. Of the 56 games he played in, he started 36 and was the elite passers in the league. Behind some of the great names in the history of the game. Gone too soon, certainly, but he's inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame way back in 1969. So he certainly should have been one that was considered. On that note of other guys that were great Grizz, that first of all were maybe don't get the credit they deserve now, some years later, but also were gone way too soon. Terry Dillon is another one. Terry Dillon was right at the very beginning of the Big Sky Conference era. He was a senior at Montana in 1964, but he also died a tragic death. Dillon was working on a construction crew like 25 miles outside of Missoula. He was driving a piece of heavy machinery across a temporary bridge, and the bridge floor gave way, and Dillon and the machine both fell about 50 feet into a high river during spring runoff, and I don't know if they actually ever found the body or not, but I wrote Terry Dillon's biography for the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame way back in 2018. Bob Obilovich, who was another guy that was a great Montana player and then went on to have a prestigious career as an executive in the CFL. Bob Obilovich said it was sickening. He had just had a heck of a year with the Vikings. That's right, Terry Dillon had left Montana and was playing for the Minnesota Vikings. His future was looking really bright. What a way for him to end. It was just a shocker to hear that. Everyone was stunned when they heard that Terry had died in that fashion. Dillon was only 22 when he died. If you've looked at Washington Grizzlies Stadium, up in the raft, like up on the press box, there's 2 numbers that are retired. Number 15 for Dave Dickinson and number 22 for the great Terry Dillon. Thanks for the texts. We appreciate it. And certainly, the Grizz have a rich football tradition. We could name 50 players that are candidates for the Grizz Mount Rushmore. So what do you think? Who's your Grizz Mount Rushmore? Who's your Bobcat Mount Rushmore for players? Let us know. Give us your 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Text us. Let us know who your Mount Rushmores are for each side of the respective rivalry. This just hit the social medias. I guess 2 pieces of recruiting news for you here. First, Cade Hudmia, who's a standout athlete in Glasgow. This kid is an absolute mountain. He's 6'6", 255 pounds. He's a tight end, a defensive end. He also is a multiple-time first-team All-State selection in basketball. And he also, I was watching track highlights the other day. This dude runs a leg on the 4x100-meter relay team at Glasgow. Granted, small town, Class B, you need everybody you can get. And being one of the faster guys in the school, it's not that crazy. But it is pretty funny to watch like a track highlight of Class B track, and you see this 6'6", 260-pound monster just coming around the turn with a baton in his hand. That's all to say he's very athletic. And Hudma's a big-time recruit. He's been offered by Montana State, and I think both sides were really hoping on having the inside track to him. But instead, he's going to the Pac-12. He just committed to Colorado State. Yes, CSU is in the Pac-12 now. I know that's hard for people to grasp sometimes. But he just posted this on his Twitter. Quote, "I'm very excited to announce that I've committed to Colorado State University. I'm more than grateful and blessed to have the opportunity. Thanks to Coach Pace and Coach Hyde for all the support on my journey. # Go Rams." So whoever would have got Hudmia, that would have been a big win in the in-state recruiting battle. I think people thought maybe the Grizz had an inside track because I believe that his mom is Laura Cummings, who was a great Lady Grizz basketball player. I'm like 95% sure on that. If I'm wrong and you hear me and I'm wrong, tell me, 406-888-1029. But I'm almost certain that Linda Cummings is his mother. But he would have been a big pawn if he would have stayed at one of the two. But now neither one of them get him, so no pawn to be had. And he's going to the highest level of college, at least one of the highest levels of college football. So good job by him. Another piece of recruiting news this is a pawn, and this is a good commitment for Montana State. Bryn Camerzell, who's one of the top players in Montana high school girls basketball. She is playing at CJI, that's Chester Joplin Inverness. She just posted on her personal Instagram that she is going to Montana State. That's a big get for Tricia Binford's Bobcats, certainly. Camerzell is... she's just a high-scoring, really, really prolific player. She's got great size. She's 6'3". She's already over 1,500 points, and she still hasn't even played her senior year yet. She's also the two-time defending state champion in high jump, so she can jump. She's got good coordination. Last year, she averaged 24 points per game and helped CJI to a state tournament trophy. She averaged 20 points per game, 10.5 rebounds per game as a sophomore. So she's a really good one, and that's a really good get for Tricia Binford. That's for the class of, well, let's see, I guess that'd be the class of 27 because she's going to be a senior, 26, 27. So I guess then she'll join Montana State in the fall of 2027. So a couple of the best athletes in the state of Montana. Choosing their future destinations. Love when we get some little breaking news here on the show. Let you know what's going on. Tease for tomorrow. A couple fun things. First, Carolyn 2000 Sports coming up. Also, Cameron Ranker. She is a Billings Central, about to be graduate. They graduate on Sunday. She was awarded the Midland Roundtable Athlete of the Year honor. That makes her the best female athlete in Billings, so that's pretty cool. She helped Billings Central to multiple state championships in basketball. She was a 1,000-point scorer, and she's headed to the University of Montana to continue her career. But first, she's going to play in the Montana-Wyoming All-Star Series for sure. But Ranker was a 3-time All-State selection in volleyball. She's a 3-time All-State selection in basketball, 4-time letter winner, and to help Billings Central to 3 state volleyball championships, 3 state basketball championships. So she had a very decorated high school career. Well, now, Inside the FCS usually is during the 4 o'clock hour on Wednesdays, but we moved it to the 5 o'clock hour here on Thursday just for this week. Samuel Kim will join us to talk about a variety of different storylines from around football championship subdivision. That's next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life. they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Diamond time. We did a little bit on the first hour, but just a quick update on state softball pairings. We will have more on this a little later on, but AA. By the way, Diamond time proudly presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris Automotive has been family owned in Missoula since 1958. DeMorris Automotive at 3115 West Broadway. Your dealer for Buick, GMC, and Mercedes-Benz. Western AA Kalispell Glacier and Missoula Sentinel received the 2 byes to state. Kalispell Flathead will play at Missoula Big Sky at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Helena Capital plays at Butte on Thursday. Eastern AA, Billings West is the number 1 seed. Belgrade's the number 2 seed. Great Falls High plays at Billings Senior on Thursday at 2. And Billings Skyview plays at Great Falls CMR at 2 as well. Stocks of football. Inside the FCS, Samuel Kim joining us in the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Usually we're doing this on respective Zooms from respective offices, but we got the man down.
I'm back
here.
in the zoo.
Here we are in the zoo. Sammy's been slowly making his way in. He had to live like 35 miles from Missoula. Now we're like 5 miles from Missoula. So
absolutely.
We're getting closer for sure. We're going to talk plenty of FCS today. I want to talk pressure cooker in the FCS. I want to talk about Weber State because he had a great interview with Weber State's new head coach. I want to talk some running backs because there's a couple running backs that are making some noise right now in the camp circuit, but also there's been some rankings that have been coming out as well. But we got to start with Monday night. Man.
Don't bring this up, Colter.
I know. Here's the deal. I think there's this a whole bunch of people that are loving the NBA right now, and there's a whole bunch of haters out there as well. If you're one of those people that's a hater, you got to just turn on this Oklahoma City San Antonio series.
Oh, they're the best teams we've seen in a while.
I mean, they're both so good. And
I'm a Thunder fan. For everybody,
Sammy's from Oklahoma, so he gets to be a Thunder fan. This is not like I just picked my team because they won the championship. He's literally grew up in Oklahoma when the Thunder came to Oklahoma City, so he's allowed to be an Oklahoma City fan, no doubt. Despite whatever Blake Hempstead says, you're allowed to. Blake's a huge Supersonics fan, and Blake tells Sammy everything the Thunder ever do is not legitimate. But I mean, double overtime, heartbreaker for the Thunder, man.
I was listening to Jason Temp because obviously, like I'm hyped up on the game. I feel like, like a fan, like I don't know. I just like when you're being a fan of a team, like you just want to consume all the content. And like, I don't know if everybody out here probably understands that feeling, but like after the game, I'm still hyped up. I want to hear what people have to say. And Jason Temp was like, he works for the Volume, and he was like, this was one of the games where it's like all the hype.
Right.
It lived up to the hype.
No doubt.
Maybe even been better than the hype. Because everybody was talking about, I mean, obviously they know the Spurs won 4 out of 5 during the regular season, and everybody was talking about this game of like this series of like it's going to be the series of the century or one of the best series we've seen in a long time. And 260-win teams, we haven't seen 260-win teams play since like the 80s.
Right.
Like, all the hype and all the circumstance, and it lived up to that. Now, obviously, we were on the losing end of it, and I have a whole host of thoughts of why that happened, but just really, really high-level basketball, really high-level coaching, and I'm just like, man, like, I can't believe that. I mean, I just can't believe we just saw Wemby. This was 7th. He's not supposed to do that, Coulter.
Multiple thoughts here. One, the thing that's unfortunate for the Thunder is that Victor Wembanyama might just. I mean, I think a lot of people think that he has the ceiling to be an all-time great. He might just be the best dude in the world. Did you see Stephon Castle walking off the floor last night?
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, "That's the hardest game I ever played in my life," but things are easy when you got the best player on planet Earth. 42 points, 23 rebounds. I mean, dude,
3 blocks.
I mean, he played 50 minutes.
Yep. And that was the thing against. It was can he withstand a long game? And absolutely he can.
He absolutely can.
I mean, when he took that shot from 28 feet, I was like, oh, thank God he took that. And then it went in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, we just can't. We can't do anything.
The Spurs also. I mean, are you worried as a Thunder fan?
Absolutely,
because
they're not going anywhere.
The Thunder. I think the perception was after the Thunder just dominated so much last year and so much this regular season,
dynasty,
and early in the playoffs. I think everybody thought, oh, the Thunder are going to just walk.
Yeah,
when the playoffs started, the Thunder were minus 200 to win the championship. That is that's as favorable of odds as to win the outright title as I have ever seen.
Yeah.
The Spurs, though, when you break it down man for man, I mean, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player in the series. He's 2-time MVP. But Wembanyama's right there.
They're the best matchup against us because of Wemby.
No question. If you look at Wemby versus Chet, I mean, it's Wemby all day long.
Please tell me you watched Chet last night. Are you not disappointed in him?
I mean,
if there was anybody who's supposed to be able to stop him on the floor,
Rudy Gobert is the best defensive center of his generation.
Absolutely.
Victor Wembanyama embarrassed him so bad in the last round of the playoffs that
his countrymen,
the T-Wolves, had to stop playing him.
Yeah,
they had to alter their rotations. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Wembanyama killed him so bad the T-Wolves had to take him out of the lineup. So, I mean, Wemby is the X factor. But then I think that you might think this is crazy, but I think Stephon Castle has a chance to be better if he not already better than Jalen Williams, especially if Williams isn't healthy.
Ooh,
especially if Williams isn't healthy.
If Williams isn't healthy, I'll give you that, but Williams' offensive ability with his defensive versatility, I mean, although he can guard 1 through 5 outside of Wemby, because we saw how that looked against Wemby. But like any other 5 in the NBA, I feel pretty comfortable putting Jalen Williams on him with his versatility. I mean, and then offensively as a slasher and what he can do in the mid range. But I mean, Stephon Castle is very good. I mean, he gets 2 feet in the paint consistently. He's very aggressive, and he's a really, really good defender. And that's one of the things about the Spurs that makes them so good against the Thunder is because, okay, having Wemby is one thing. Yeah, Wemby is going to be dominant. He's going to dominate on the defensive end. He's going to dominate on the offensive end when he wants to. But they have wings who can guard. Dylan Harper, the 2nd overall pick, can guard. Stephon Castle, the Rookie of the Year, can guard.
Right.
Like, everybody on the floor can guard. And that's what makes them not only good, but great. And, I mean, I told all of my friends, anybody who knows me says, this was the one series where I was just like, man, like,
They're the only team in the league that can match them defensively. This might be the NBA Finals, and I hope it goes 7 games because it's certainly entertaining to say.
I hate saying that because last year they said the Denver Nuggets series was the finals, and then we get against the Pacers, and they just like.
Well,
and we were young too. We hadn't won yet.
And you never know. I mean, these are the best athletes in the world. They're going to bring their best, right? I mean, if whoever wins this series, if they have to play New York, I mean, they're
the favorite. Whoever wins the series is the favorite.
They're the favorite for sure, but they're still going to have to go to the Garden and play, or they're going to have to go to Cleveland. Those are both huge home court advantages.
Interesting? The Spurs beat OKC in the semifinals of the NBA Cup. In the NBA Cup, guess who the Spurs played in the NBA Cup championship? The Knicks, and they lost.
Interesting. Samuel Kim, inside the FCS. Let's talk some football. Proudly presented by Paradise Falls in Missoula. Paradise Falls serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Paradise Falls, located at 3621 Brook Street. Go check them out. They have food and drink specials going 7 days a week. So, you had a nice interview with Weber State's new head coach. Tell me, how do you pronounce his last name?
Kerr.
So
it's KJAR, but it's Kerr.
Kerr. Okay, Eric Kerr.
Yeah.
He is a legendary high school coach in the state of Utah. He's done a ton of great program building and won a ton of state championships. Had a bunch of great Division I prospects. A little bit outside the box to hire a high school coach as a head coach, but I also think he has a better fit at Weber State than Mick. I mean, to me, as a guy that's covered the Big Sky for 20 years, I thought Mickey Mental was the most random hire in the history of my career covering the Big Sky because he had no affiliation with the Big Sky. He'd only been at Weber for a year. Jay Hill had multiple guys on his staff that people thought were the heir apparents. Yeah. People thought maybe Brent Myers would be in the mix as the offensive line coach / had dabbled as the offensive coordinator. Grant Duff had been the DC there under Coach Hill forever. Yeah. And neither of those guys got hired. So Mental was a totally outside the box hire, and it didn't go well at all, and they fell on their face. And then he got fired resoundingly after they gave up 66 to the Bobcats in Bozeman. Enter Care. So it is a better fix. He's got Utah ties. I think he can recruit. He's going to be able to recruit the state of Utah. But you had a nice interview with him the other day. What did you think?
Man, I think he's a well-spoken guy. He seems to be very confident and confident but quietly confident, in what he's done. Obviously, I mean, you win 3 straight state championships these past 3 years, and then, they took a little hiatus and then won 3 more. He's won 6 state championships at the best high school in Utah. High school football. I mean, I don't know how else you describe him. I mean, he knows how to win. Now, my biggest question is, how will you build a culture? And that's one of the questions I asked him is what is your plan to build the culture that you built at Corner Canyon at Weber State? Sure. And, coaching them hard, being hard on them, but also, building relationships. And that's what I think a lot of people get lost in this day and age is building those relationships. And I think some of the best coaches in college football have the ability to not only, coach your guys hard and get out of them what you need to get out of them, but also building those meaningful relationships to where they trust you, but they believe you, they know they got your back. But then, like he mentioned in one of the clips I posted online, when you build that relationship, you're able to push on them a little harder because they know, no, coach loves me at the end of the day, and he wouldn't tell me anything if he didn't want the best for me. So I thought it was a great conversation. I think it's hard in the Big Sky right now because Montana State, UC Davis, I think you're behind the 8 ball from where Jay Hill left the program. Sure. So that is obviously going to be an uphill battle, but I think if anybody would be able to get them on the right track from where they used to be, it would be Coach Eric Kerr.
Weber State and Eastern Washington were the 2 schools, the 2 football programs that really seized the moment when Montana and Montana State had lulls in their sort of their program trajectory. Yeah. And I've always wondered, because when the Big Sky expanded from 9 teams to 13 teams in 2012, this is right before you came to play in the Big Sky. Yeah. It sort of put the league into this new era, and it made it more unpredictable because there was just these new places, these new teams. Cal Poly was the real deal when they came into the league. Triple option. They sort of fell on their face as time went along, but I mean they shared the league title year 1 in 2012 with Montana State. I mean Andre Brodus, who's Snoop Dogg's nephew, he was the quarterback, and I mean they were diabolical with that triple option. Oh, yeah. But North Dakota was good, and they shared a league title. Yeah, went undefeated in the league one time.
Southern Utah shared a title.
Utah shared 2 titles. Yeah. So all the new teams sort of did have an impact. But I always wondered, when you're weighing it, was between 2012 and 2018, that was the most widespread the talent and competing teams had been in my time covering the Big Sky. Yeah.
Parity.
I always wondered if that was because all those teams had it rolling at the same time, or if it was just simply because Montana and Montana State didn't have it rolling. What do you think?
I'd probably say the latter.
Because, I mean, once Montana and Montana State got it rolling again, who's everybody been chasing?
Montana State.
I mean, since Bobby Houck sort of returned in 2018 and Jeff Cho made the playoffs for the first time in 2018, the Cats and the Grizz have been in the playoffs every single year, both teams. Yeah. And everybody else has been sort of vying for that 3rd or 4th spot out of the Big Sky.
You're right. I mean, but I will say in that time when Bobby Houck and Jeff Cho were building the programs back up, that was in the time where Sac State had their little string of dominance in the conference, and Weber State was still winning a decent amount early on in the Houck era as well. So, I mean, but certainly it does feel like, Montana and Montana State being good kind of mitigates everybody else in the conference.
When the non-consistent programs like Cal Poly, Southern Utah, North Dakota, even Portland State, when they all flirt with and make the playoffs once or twice, I think that is a direct symptom of the Montana schools being down. Yeah, I will give more credit to Eastern Washington and Weber than maybe I'm implying, because Bo Baldwin had it rolling at Eastern Washington. I mean, those teams were legitimately good. I'm writing Brock Coyle's bio for the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Okay,
and he was on the Grizz during one of the craziest times in Grizz history.
Yeah.
He played as a true freshman in 2009, went to the Natty, that he blew his shoulder in 2010 and had to use his red shirt a year late, basically. Yeah, right. But that's when Coach Houck had left. So all of a sudden, it's this whole turnover. Then 2011, they're great on the field, but then everybody gets fired. So now they're in a new rebuild again. Yeah, right. Then Jordan Johnson's on trial for rape, and all of a sudden, you have no quarterback. Then you have the first losing season for the Grizz in 40 years. But then those guys got it back on track by making the playoffs in 2013. Yeah. But like he was talking about, that team was good enough to win the Big Sky, except for they weren't. They didn't, and they weren't good enough because that Eastern Washington team was so good. I mean, Vern Adams and Cooper Kupp, Brock said, he's like, I'll take my humble pie, man. Like, we weren't the best team in the Big Sky. That team was one of the best teams in the country that year.
Think about you're talking about a freshman Cooper Kupp, too.
Right, totally, no doubt. But then Weber, too. I think Weber experienced a little bit of the circumstance of the Montana schools being down, but also Jay Hill was a hell of a coach, and he recruited a heck of a lot of players. You played against those Jay Hill Weber teams. What do you remember about those teams?
Just tough, man.
Really tough, right?
Played hard. 4-quarter football game. They were going to tackle well. They were going to be mentally tough, and it kind of reminds me of kind of what Coach Houck wanted to build us into when he got back, and the Houck teams that I've been. People talk about from the 03 to 09 era, but just tough football teams that are not going to hurt themselves. You are going to have to beat them. And they might not always be the most explosive offensively. You know, they might not always have the most talent, but they are always going to be in the game, and it's always going to be a battle from start to finish. So that's the biggest thing I remember from Jay Hill coach teams. But we will see what Coach Eric Kerr can do. I mean, the biggest thing I think about Coach Kerr is that you don't get to the level of success that he got to at Corner Canyon without knowing something.
Sure.
You know, like, he is no slouch in the coaching realm. He's only been out of high school. And I asked him, too, like, you know, why now? You know, like, you're extremely successful. And he said, really, it just was that the position was open. You know, I think for him, it had never really been open. You know, he had got some people throwing feelers out there for him to go to college football. But just like the opportunity where Corner Canyon is only 45 minutes down the road, his kids, 2 of his kids are now at Weber State. 1 of his kids is still in high school in Corner Canyon. Like, it just made so much sense at this point that, you know, it was a perfect opportunity. And also, too, you know, he's won a lot in high school. I think he mentioned it's a new challenge for himself as well to know kind of see if he can take that next step to the college level.
Samuel Kim joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. It used to be not that uncommon for guys to go from the high school ranks to the college ranks. I mean, there's been some guys that became all-time great coaches in the state of Montana. That, you know, Sonny Holland was the coach at Great Falls Central and then Butte High before he became the Montana State guy. And I mean, there's a statue of him out front of Montana State Stadium, right? We've seen this on both sides of the rivalry, though. There's been some coaches that have been really good, but mostly that was in the 20th century. Last 20, 25 years hasn't been as common. I can't ask you why, because I don't know why either. But, like, what do you think of that dynamic? Because I think some people saw this hire and they scoffed at it. They're like, why would you hire a high school coach? Why don't you just go get guys that... So why did you love it?
Because he's been successful. I mean...
Right, he knows how to win, right?
He knows how to win.
I mean, who's the last guy that was a high school coach that came into the Big Sky? Troy Taylor. What did Troy Taylor do?
Win.
He won like 5 state championships in California, and he came into SAC and completely turned it around, boom, just like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing is, and I say this in my work motivation, and I send motivations in my Discord every morning too, and it's like, you know, the biggest thing for me is winners win. You know, people who know how to win. Sure. Like, you know, people who have always been winners win. And that's the biggest thing about, we were talking about the Thunder earlier. The Thunder are winners. So last night, that's why it went to double OT. To be honest with you, the Thunder might not be the best team in that series, but they are winners. So when it comes down to it, we know we're going to win. We know we're going to do what it takes to win. And I think that's what it comes down to Coach Troy Taylor at Sac State. I think that's what it comes down to Coach Eric Kerr. I mean, we don't know yet, but we will find out. But he knows how to win. He knows the recipe that he's done and that he's used to win. Coach Houck might not have had the same success that he had early on in his career at Montana. He knew how to win. Winners win. And it's different. We're talking about going to high school to college, but still, just like, I just feel like having that winning mentality, knowing what it takes to win, there's a secret sauce there that coaches know of, and I don't think it really matters the level. If you know it, you know it, you know.
Is Kerr going to be an offensive? He's an offensive guy.
Yeah, he's going to be OC. So he's going to call plays.
This is the other thing I'm really interested in. Because always the only knock on Jay Hill was their offenses were pretty bland.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they had a guy like Rashid Shaheed. He only scored like 17 touchdowns in high school in college.
He just won a Super Bowl, man.
I mean, he's one of the fastest players in the world. But like he never had more than like 6 or 7 touchdowns in the year. And I used to remember watching him return kicks. I'm like, bro, why don't you just like send that dude? But it was the same thing with Malik Flowers and the Grizz, right?
Yeah, right.
You'd always watch him and be like, well, why don't they just send him on a go route and see how far he can run?
Yeah, right.
But Coach Alk was always sort of playing conservative. Same thing with Coach Hill. But I've always thought though that there's certain programs where you got to play a style that's going to be conducive to your most fertile recruiting ground. In other words, like Montana State has had a ground and pound style for 20 years. This isn't even just a new thing. They've been doing that. Because why? Because they can get good offensive linemen.
Yeah, right.
The engineering part of the school is not a big hurdle for offensive linemen a lot of times because offensive linemen are the smartest guys on the team. but really you can get small town guys that are into the ag thing in Montana.
Right.
They've been able to have great offensive linemen and great running backs, and they've always been able to run the rock. Montana is like the rare school where I think you could be successful playing an offensive or a defensive style at Montana.
You just gotta decide what you want.
Right, you gotta decide what you want. Like, because I think you can get sweet skill players and light it up, and I also think you can get, as proven, you can get great defensive guys too.
Yeah, right.
I think at Weber, the style Jay Hill played is perfect for what they got, though, because they're going to get so many great offensive and defensive linemen. I mean, and Coach Hill is a defensive guy. He could recruit so many of these hard-nosed linebackers.
Yep.
They
Good
got
running backs.
They got the pipeline to the Polynesian guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was the thing.
And also you're getting guys who are going on missions, so they're older, more mature.
Totally, and that's when I say that I think there's certain places where you have to know the landscape of the place to be able to be successful. Utah is maybe the number one place on that list, right? You need to know how to manage all this stuff.
Absolutely.
You need to know how to recruit against. I mean, there's more legitimate, FBS programs on that one, I-15 corridor as almost anywhere in the Big Sky, because you got to drive through Logan and Provo. I mean, I guess Provo's south of Ogden, but either way, like kids can choose to go to Salt Lake or Logan or Provo before they come to you. So you got to learn how to manage that.
And now you got 2 other Big Sky schools. Now,
no doubt.
Will you have to really recruit against them? Maybe not, but still, they're in the state.
Yeah. So I've always thought that the fit really matters for sure, and I think that this is going to be a good fit. I don't know if it's a good hire yet, but I think it's a good fit for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit. We will see. Time will tell. But I thought it was a really good conversation. I think he's got the right mentality. He said that he wants to be an explosive. They want to play an explosive brand of football. Do you know when's the last time we had a coach in the conference who was also calling plays offensively? I don't. I'm asking.
Offensively, Bob Stitt.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
Troy Taylor.
He called plays?
Yeah, Troy Taylor called plays. I mean, he had an offensive coordinator by name, but
I guess Brennan Marion called plays too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Troy Taylor at SAC. He had an offensive coordinator on his staff, but I mean, he's on the mic.
Yeah, right.
Brennan Marion at SAC for sure. Bob Stitt.
I guess it's not that rare. I was wondering because I was
Bruce Barnum.
Okay,
Called a lot of his own plays.
Yeah, right.
Does Hawkins call it? Cody Hawkins?
I would guess that Hawkins is probably calling.
I would guess. Then you have some of the old school coaches like Tim Walsh who wouldn't even wear a headset during game day. I still love that. He would just walk them down the sideline and yell at people and make sure everybody was doing their stuff.
Oh, yeah. True head coach, man.
No doubt. Dan Hawkins was also very uninvolved during game day because he let Plow do it all. Or Cody.
Yeah, right.
He let both those guys do it. Yeah, I'm trying to think, though. It's actually been more rare on the defensive side.
Right.
Jay Hill called his own plays.
He did.
I can't really think of anybody else. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Bobby Houck got sideways, he'd start calling it, and when Jeff Choate got sideways, he would definitely start calling it. But I can't really think of anybody else, man.
I can't either.
Do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage to call your own stuff?
I don't know, because I think this is a big debate in pro ball as well.
Sure.
Of like the Sean McVays and maybe the Kyle Shanahans who call their offenses. I don't know. I guess it just depends. Like, it just depends. If you're good, then yeah, we want you calling the plays. If you're not good, we don't want you calling the plays. Like, I think with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, like, their offenses are good. So yeah, of course, them calling the plays is good. But I think there's also some examples in pro and college sports where it's like they're calling the plays and they're not that good. So I think it just depends on, are you good? Are you not good? How successful are you at what you're doing?
And what's the guy on the other side of the ball calling plays? How much does he have control of it all as well? Right. I mean, that was always the thought with, like, Jay Hill, for example. Like, of course they're not that good on offense because the head coach is doing the defense when the offense is on the field. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even just not really pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, right.
Interesting dynamic for sure. Samuel Kim inside the FCS, probably presented by Paradise Falls of Missoula. Okay, last thing on Weber. We're talking about Weber because I know most of you guys listening in, you want to hear about Montana and Montana State. I think it's actually more important for Weber State to be good than anybody in the conference besides the Montana schools. Because I think for where they're located, the places they can recruit from, the fact that they have an international airport that just 45 minutes away, the talent of the quality of talent that exists in the state of Utah, and the fact that they've been in the playoffs and they've won games in the playoffs, I mean, recently. I think all that. I think they have a higher ceiling than anybody besides Montana, Montana State, and UC Davis. And UC Davis is sort of outside the Big Sky landscape to me because they're not in the Big Sky in anything but football. And I don't think they're going to be in the Big Sky.
I think it's important for Idaho to be good as well.
I agree. I totally agree. But I think Idaho and Weber should be the same. Like those should be on the same parallel.
Absolutely.
I think Idaho has a little bit better fans just because they had such great, like a little bit more prolific fans, I should say. Because they've had great teams with good history.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more of a rural place.
And the Kibbie Dome. Everybody loves
the that's the biggest issue Weber's always had is that even when you're really good, so many of the people that live in and around that area, they just drive to Salt Lake to go to Utah games, or they drive south to Provo for an hour and go to BYU games because both those teams are awesome.
Yeah, right.
So that's hard to overcome, but I just do think it's good for the league for Weber to be good. Like,
absolutely.
If you have Weber in Ogden on your schedule, that needs to be a tough game. Mm-hmm. That doesn't need to be we're going to beat you 66-14. Like that's stupid for the league when that happens. When it's a 13-7 game, like when the Cats went down there a few years ago, or like when they go beat the Grizz, that one game that was like the biggest offensive headache in the history of Grizz football.
In the playoffs?
No, the one where Chris Brown had to start and they fumbled it early. They lost 24-21, but all the points were scored either defensively or on special teams. It might have been, it might have been like your senior year. No, it was the year after. It was the year after.
22. When, what's his name? Lucas got hurt.
It was the year after. Lucas Johnson got hurt against Sac, and then the next week they had to go to Weber, and they copped it all over the field. Either way, I just think it's important for the league that Weber's good.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, man. Freaking Weber State, man. I'm excited to see what they do. I told him I'm excited to see him in Spokane, but I thought it was a really good conversation. I appreciate him for giving me his time, and we'll be looking out for him.
Weber. Also, the last point I'll make on this is that I think that the most natural rival besides each other for the Cats and the Grizz is Idaho, but then the second most is a tie between Eastern Washington and Weber. So I just think that that's good for the league to have multiple rivalries. It doesn't necessarily just have to be your in-state rival.
You might disagree with this, but that's also why I think Southern Utah and Utah Tech joining the conference is good for Weber's standpoint. Because I think that kind of pushes them. That kind of puts some like you can't be worse than those two teams. You're not going to be worse than Utah Tech. You can't be worse than Southern Utah.
Right, totally. I just don't like the Utah Tech and Weber and
Southern
Utah additions because they're just not the same in terms of the landscape of the schools. Southern Utah can just take guys that nobody else can take. It's a weird advantage.
Yeah.
If they exist in the FCS and you play them in the non-conference, that's all good. Mm-hmm. But like when Ed Lamb was there, they were taking dudes where you're like, dude,
we wouldn't have got them anyway.
Nobody could get those guys into school, man. Like that, they had some guys that had some bad stuff on their records and bad stuff. I mean, it's like the old saying, like, you turn the transcript upside down and all of a sudden it looks like the guy qualifies. Like that's the position that they were in. Okay, I want to talk running backs real quick because Eli Gilman's putting on a series of camps across Montana in the month of June.
Adam Jones
and Taco Dalla are putting on a series of camps in the month of June. I know that a lot of people say, why would you go to a Grizz camp if you're a Bobcat? Why would you go to a Bobcat? I would go to all these camps if I was a kid. Like
absolutely.
Right? Like, just go see these guys.
It depends. Like, if I grew up in a Grizz family,
man,
I may not go to a Bobcat
Even if I grew up in a Grizz family, I'm still sending my kid to Sentinel to go see Adam Jones. Like, why not? You're just going to get good coaching.
I think you underestimate how deep the rivalry is.
I don't underestimate it. I don't. I live it every day. I'm just trying to give people...
I get the point you're making.
I'm just trying to give people words of wisdom to help enjoy your life.
Absolutely.
And also, I love all these guys.
Good kids. They're all good guys.
They're all really good dudes, guys, and I think they're going to do a good job with these camps. And we're equal opportunity here. We're trying to help get the word out about all this stuff. But there's a lot of heat going on right now about the best returning running backs in the FCS. There's been some lists coming out, and I think we would both agree, no question, that Eli Gilman and Adam Jones have to be on the top of those lists. Gilman's been getting a little bit more love than Jones. He is the reigning Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sleep on Jones. I think he's an unbelievable player. I think he's actually
get as many carries as Eli this year as well.
No question. I think that Jones is a little bit more versatile than Gilman, but I think Gilman is a prodigious talent. He's one of the greatest talents I've ever seen come through the Big Sky. Where did you land on the sort of the debate between those guys here in the preseason?
I have Eli number one. I mean, his stats and what he's done. I think he's been unanimous number one for most people. Most lists I've seen is where I've seen him at. I had Luke Yoder out of Lehigh at number 2. Now, the one reason why I would welcome any argument to put Adam above him is the Patriot League is not the Big Sky Conference. We all know that. I mean, Lehigh was a great football team last year. They went undefeated in the regular season. They got to the playoffs and they lost in a 14-7 game. I mean, Luke Yoder didn't do much. Another thing that I take into consideration is when you look at Adam Jones's yards per carry and you look at Eli Gilman's yards per carry, I think Eli's at 6.2. I think Adam Jones is at 6.3. Eli had more carries than Adam Jones. If you give Adam Jones the exact same amount of carries as Eli got, Adam Jones has the same amount of rushing yards as Eli Gilman. But I also, like you mentioned, versatility. I think Adam Jones is a better receiver out of the backfield than Eli Gilman is. Now, maybe they don't use Eli as much as they do Adam Jones, but just what I've seen from Adam Jones, I like what I've seen from him as a receiver more than I like what I've seen from Eli Gilman. But I think they're both very good. I think the Big Sky is in a really good place in terms of the running back position. Not only do I think Adam Jones and Eli Gilman are two really good running backs, I had Dason Brooks from Idaho State on my list who barely got over 1,000. And the biggest thing I mentioned in a video online about why I think it's so important that Dason Brooks had over 1,000 is because me and you both know they're not running the ball like that in that offense. I thought they had a really good rushing offense last year, and they didn't.
They did. They had a good offensive line.
They didn't run it enough.
As I was saying when we were texting, man, Idaho State has not had offensive problems for most of the last 25 years. All the problems Idaho State's had has been on the other side of the ball. They should have ran it more. For sure.
Dason Brooks would have had 1,200, 1,300 yards last year if they would have ran it more. He had over 1,000. He's a good running back. Jordan Fisher at UC Davis, I think 1,100, 1,200 yards last year. Another good running back. I think the Big Sky is in a really, really good place at the running back position right now.
Well,
and Jaden Green from Lehigh, who was Luke Yoder's backup, is now at Cal Poly. He was like 9 or 10 on my list as well. So like 5 good running backs in the Big Sky Conference.
Well, and this has been, I mean, I don't even know if these guys are as good as the last crew, right? Like there was a time when that UC Davis had Alonzo Gilliam, who was a four-year starter, 5,000-yard back during his
Sac
career.
State kid, Dotson.
Elijah Dotson was he rushed for 1,000 yards twice at Sac State, and then another time in Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Josh Davis was the Utah
Weber
Gatorade
State
Player of the Year, and then was an outstanding player at Weber State. Isaiah Fonse was the Washington Gatorade Player of the Year.
Was that around the same time as we had a Knight?
Marcus Knight was playing for the Grizz at the time, and he scored 25 touchdowns. Wow. And Fonse is the all-time leading rusher in the history of Bobcat football.
Goodness.
So that's the thing, though, is I think that for all this talk about how the NIL and the transfer portal has completely diluted the smaller levels of football, I actually think the skill positions are still really good because I think you can get guys.
There's always been a plethora of skill talent.
There always has
in football,
and you can also get skill guys by saying, "Hey, come here and be the man."
Yeah, right.
Like you can get Eli Gilman, the Minnesota Player of the Year, and say, "Hey, dude, the day you walk on campus, you are it. You're the number one guy."
Yeah, right.
And here he is. He's going into his fourth and a half year of being the number one guy because he played a little bit down the stretch of that redshirt year too. So I don't know. I think, and also like I always say, if you have running back problems. If you're a top tier team in the Big Sky, you have a good running back. It's almost unfathomable.
Yeah,
because there's just so many good running backs.
Yeah, you that's one position you can't miss on.
I mean, there's been very few. I know you and me and Keenan were laughing because I asked you guys, like, has there ever been a bad running back for the Grizz? We won't name names. There's been a couple, but like mostly like. This spring we were talking about, oh my gosh, Hasheem Jones is so good after Eli Gilman. We've been doing that forever, right?
Yeah, right.
Like Marcus Knight scored 25 touchdowns, and then he got hurt.
The third string just went to SEC.
But Malafinotti just went to the SEC. Exactly. Right? Like we've been doing this forever. Like, how do you replace Isaiah Fonse? Well, I mean, the Cats have had like multiple 1,000-yard rushers over the last however many years.
Scottrey Humphrey leaves. Well, Adam Jones is right there.
Doesn't matter. Adam Jones, Julius Davis, they're right there. Who replaced Knight? I can't remember. Knight got hurt, and then
gosh, was it Xavier Harris? There was a lull there a little bit. There was a lull. Xavier Harris
I thought
was a little
Harris
small.
was actually good. He
was good.
He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, right. But then Eli came in.
And the
so Xavier was there for like a year or two, and Junior had to play for a season.
Yeah, the Bergen year in 21, right? Was
him and X.
Yeah, that was a tough year because they did have a lot of injuries,
and they were just young. It's like
totally
they don't know they're still wet behind the ears. Like you
just got to have good running backs.
Absolutely,
in the Big Sky Conference. Inside the FCS, probably presented by Paradise Falls. Missoula Paradise Falls serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They also got sports bet machines over there, so you need to play some wagers on the NBA or anything else. Head on over to Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot. Thanks for coming in, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Well, we're up against it. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. You're listening to Nuanez Now right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.